My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. If snow be white, why then her breasts are dun? If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. I have seen such roses damasked, red and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks. And in some perfumes is there more delight than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. And yet, by heaven, I think my love as rare as any sheep belied with false compare.
Speaking on the track.
Sonnet 130 was published in 1609 in a collection of Shakespeare's poems entitled Sonnets. Born into the mid-16th century in Stratford, England, Shakespeare was one of the 8 children in his household. To support this large family, his father worked many jobs and was an active member in the Holy Trinity Church there in Stratford. Shakespeare grew up in the church, and their family was wealthy and a pillar of their community. His father at some point became excommunicated from the church, and his family was unable to uphold their social standing. Around the age of 18, Shakespeare married Anne Hathaway of Shottery. She was 8 years older than him at the time and pregnant with his child. They got married in November of 1582 and welcomed their daughter into the world the following spring. Shortly after, 2 years later, their twin boys were born in 1855. The following 7 years of Shakespeare's life are a mystery. All that is known from this period is that Shakespeare moved to London and joined the London Theatrical Company, as well as began his career as an actor and playwright. Unfortunately, no one knows which order any of these events occurred. Up until the year 1606, when Shakespeare retired to his home in Stratford, he was a famous and well-known playwright and actor, and many of these publications are still recognized today. He continues to hold the title of the best-selling fiction author of all time, having sold an estimated 4 billion copies of his works worldwide.
Beauty in the 1600s was based on Queen Elizabeth's physical appearance, so society viewed love based on something they saw within their leader. But that's not the true definition of love or beauty, because when you love someone, it's not about physical appearance, it's about what's on the inside. Shakespeare wrote this poem to create a mockery of how society at the time viewed love or beauty. One way he demonstrates this is by introducing the Dark Lady. This was a woman either the speaker was having an affair with or Shakespeare himself. The world may never know. Shakespeare wrote many sonnets, 127 through 154, containing the Dark Lady, and used that character whether it was real or fiction. And he used this to demonstrate how purely sexual relationships, whether it was actual sex or lust, to take away from the idea of real love.
Many it might seem like Shakespeare created this whole entire poem to mock his mistress, but he really made it to challenge the standards of beauty in the 1600s. Okay, and so to get the red tint on their lips, they would use a pigment called vermilion, or like it was also known as like cinnabar, and basically it was like really toxic because it had mercury in it, and it would just like crack up their lips and different stuff like that. But they would do all this different stuff to just achieve beauty. And so in the poem, Shakespeare talks about how his mistress's lips didn't even come like close to the color of coral, so that's how you know that they just weren't red like at all. So to the reader, it seems like he was calling her ugly or pointing this out as if it was a flaw, but he really wasn't. Okay, during this time, women would use lead paint, and it was also known as ceruse, and it contained mercury, and it was highly toxic to their skin. And when something's toxic to your skin, it gets into your body and it can affect your body. And so they started losing their eyebrows and like their hairline and different things like that. So it was just very harmful for them. All right. So in the poem, Shakespeare says that his mistress had a tread when she walks, and so during this time it was presented as pleasing to the eye if women appeared as if they were rolling as they walked, if they appeared to be more graceful. But he said that his mistress was far from this, and so he challenged this. And in the end, in the conclusion of the poem, he says that all of these things that he pointed out about his mistress were really things that made her beautiful in her own way and defied what everyone else around her was doing. So this is why I love this poem, and this is why it meant so much to me.
Modern 130, in the first stanza, the speaker spends one line on each comparing his mistress to someone else. In the second and third stanza, he expands the description to occupy 2 lines so that roses, cheeks, perfume, and breath, music, and voice, and goddess and mistress all have like an unrhymed line. This makes it, well, this creates the effect of an expanding and developing argument. And neatly prevents the poem, well, and neatly holds the poem together. And on every single line, there's a joke for the first 12 lines. Shakespeare's sonnets subvert from all the other typical love poems because all those other poems are like lies. You know, every poet's female like significant other isn't beautiful. Shakespeare was telling the truth on his, so that's why it's different. And he didn't idolize the beauty of the love, he was honest.